Debbie, the researcher.
And I'm Judy, the athlete, and we're here to help you better your best. So we had an earlier YouTube on parents, talking to parents, and this one I think it warrants talking to juniors. The up-and-coming athletes are next generation of champions,
Right.
That are coming through that learning curve, and more importantly, they're coming through their teenage years where, my goodness, when we look at their physical development, no day is the same.
Right.
And it's so hard for them because, they're getting to this level of expertise, and yet their body is different every day. Their hormones are different every day. I mean, literally every day they go out there, it can't feel the same. And I know in the sport of archery, and I'm sure it's true in golf as well, they're growing. And they're growing sometimes at such a fast rate that they're growing out of their equipment.
Right.
And they're trying to use equipment, and they're trying to keep their form to be able to use the equipment, and it's a really, really tough period of time.
Right. If anything, they're going to learn adaptability because everything is so variable for them. And I mean, that's a good challenge for you juniors. We appreciate the fact that you go through this and, logically and hopefully come out the other end very successful. But all the things you learn along the way are tremendous for performance, because that's what happens when you hit the top levels. Things are just not the same as much as we want them to.
And what I see sometimes, right, when they go to compete, where they are in that whole cycle, sometimes it's my day and it's all great, and the next week it's nothing. And it's sort of just understanding that as they go, right?
And they're on their own path. It's very important you consider that, because I used to beat this player all the time, and now I can't beat him anymore, and that's exactly right. They're at a different phase than you are, and they're hopefully at probably something that has solidified a little bit and not changed for the last 6 months,
right.
Whereas you might be in a completely different place and you just grew another 2 inches and have to adjust. But the other thing is the cognitive developmental stages. So I mean, it's so fascinating in the brain because we're protected when we're young, and we're more right-sided, as we've talked about before. And man, you don't even see the trouble. You don't see, you don't process all the things that in the same way, because the brain hasn't developed. It continues to develop, but up to 15, clearly you're not as analytical, etc. And it helps us, to be able to just get up there and shoot it or hit it or whatever. But then, 10 to 12 still, depending on how early you started, 10 to 12, you're still in that just see it, feel it, do it stage. And then all of a sudden we start being able to analyze more, and we feel all the things in our swing and our motion, and you learn to manage it yourself, which is valuable. Okay, but you also now start seeing the trouble or the possibility that I might miss, or all the trees in the way, or whatever it happened. And now we've got to learn to manage that piece. Are those trees big trouble, or are they just directing you to exactly where you want to go? Those types of things. So
perceptions.
It's
right?
hard. Yeah, 15, 16, I think, 17, it gets really tough in that range. And then 18, going to college, or about that time, senior, and going to, hopefully we've gotten through most of the analytic phase. So now, I think we just organize our thinking. I say that, I'm not sure it's easy, but so we have our logical piece that we do first, obviously, so that over that ball, or when you're ready to release, you can totally let go, right? And know that it's going to be great.
So what I hear you saying is, we talked about the physical and then obviously the cognitive. There's just a lot of change going on during this time. What's the best advice?
Adaptability.
Adaptability.
And they're learning so much. You kids are learning so much during this period of time. And it can get real frustrating. I understand that, but just keep going.
And I guess
forward focus.
And if you could just say, I'm okay.
Yeah, that's a great one.
I'm okay.